I, 20 years old, live with my parents, 50, and my two sisters, 20 years and 19 years. For as long as I can remember, my parents have had financial difficulties. For the past 4 months I have paid the entirety of my parents' rent. While I don't really make that much, I work 50 hours a week most weeks due to understaffing, so I get pretty good sized paycheck. Plus most of the time I am able to set aside some money for saving. However, these past months every one of my dad's paychecks, he makes the most money out of us all, have been garnished or been completely gone before he ever gets them. I have the misfortune of getting paid the exact same days as him. So the majority of my paychecks and all my savings have gone to paying for bills. 2 weeks ago my dad didn't get his paycheck and I ended up overdrawing my bank account $1,000. It was an accident, as I had forgotten about a payment that I had made that had yet to show up. So when I got my paycheck on Friday it was just $100. Which my dad immediately asked for 80 of. I had told my parents I would be unable to help financially for the next 2 weeks, and again my dad didn't get his check, so my parents are scrambling to get money together to avoid our utilities being cut off. My college does this thing, I don't know if every college does this or not, where you pay the full amount of your tuition and then at the end of the semester you get the amount of scholarships and financial aid paid to you. There is a deadline to get the money, however they hold it for you if you miss it. The most of the 2 years I have been going there I have forgotten to do that, so the money has been sitting around. I had missed the December deadline for the fall semester, but I got a jump on spring knowing that I would forget, and it is my last year at that college because I am transferring to another one. I promptly forgot about it. Well, on Friday I received an email from the bank system my college uses that I will be receiving the money. I had shrugged it off because most of the time I receive my money from that kind of stuff really late, so while the email said 1 to 2 business days I was thinking it'd be in June. So imagine my surprise when I see that day it was in my account. Also, considering that it has been sitting there for 2 years, it is a fair amount. I am by no means rich or anything, but it was certainly more than I had been expecting. I paid a bill that I just haven't been able to, and the majority is just sitting in my bank account. It's been 2 days and I haven't mentioned anything about the money. My parents never even knew I was getting money from my college due to my forgetfulness. I know that this money could help make sure that none of our utilities are cut off, but I can't seem to bring myself to tell them. I'm moving out soon, so this money could go towards giving me some breathing room or go to my classes this summer, so I really want to save it and not say anything, just let my parents assume that I only have $20 to my name. However, if the utilities get cut off then I will be affected as well. I feel like such an asshole for not telling my parents about the money. I know that I am just being selfish, but I am so tired of every penny I make going towards my family's bill. I know my mom feels extremely guilty every time they do this, but it is something they have to do to survive. So, am I the asshole? Edit. Since a lot of people are asking, here you go. My parents have a lot of payday loans from my childhood, other loans, and owe money to the state and IRS. My dad had at one point has been accused of a gambling addiction. It runs in his family and he had at one point had one. However, my parents have talked this out. My dad's company also has shitty communication, so we no way of knowing when he is garnished and why until he gets paid. Everyone does work, but me and my dad make the most money. My mom works a minimum wage job. My sisters work part-time minimum wage jobs. My mom and 20-year sister do help pay bills. My little sister, however, does not. She is the type that has a little bit of money and goes wild. My parents pay for a lot of her stuff without ever seeing a dime for it. My parents are trying to stop that, however it is extremely difficult due to other factors that I will not get into on this post, as it has nothing to do with money. The reason I make a lot of money is because I am a lifeguard, and due to the lack of them we are paid intensively. As many of you have suggested, I am moving out. I am moving to a different city this summer for classes. I honestly don't think I need to go to such extremes as some of you suggested. My bank account is separate from theirs. We do use the same bank though. My parents do not try to sneakily get my money, and the few times my dad has, I have called him out and berated him over it. My mom also feels extremely guilty about the entire situation, and as such I don't see her doing anything underhanded, and my dad, I have strict guidelines with him. I do have a ton of notifications on for both my credit card and bank account to the point of $1 getting spent. I will know. Also no, I will not be getting back the money that I have given to my parents. I am not even going to try. I'm not going to be another thing that they have to pay off. However, some of your suggestions I will follow. My parents are aware, and I will remind them when I leave that I will not be able to pay things when they leave, as I will be both reducing my hours at work and having my own bills to pay, such as school and the apartment. I received money back from college for a few semesters, like $600/semester. But at that time my parents paid for my tuition, only $1,500/semester, community college, so I just paid them back that money since it was theirs anyway. But when I started paying for myself, I kept that money for myself. Update 1. So I live with my parents and 2 sisters for now. I am moving out next month. So my dad decided to play a joke on me. He took my card and took out 90% of the money and my money out of my checking account. For those wondering about the college money I got from a previous post, it is in another savings account that is through another institution, so it is safe. He then put my card back in its original position and went to work. He did all of this around midnight. So I woke up in the morning to most of my money being gone. My first thought was that my dad took my card without asking, But my card was still in my wallet and where I left it. I had thought that someone had cloned my card and guessed my PIN. I sent off a quick text to my mom and called my bank. I spent a while doing that. I was so anxious, I was practically sobbing, and I'm not a person that really cries. That money was my deposit and rent for June. I then went into the living room and heard my mom arguing. I couldn't hear much, but I heard my mom exclaim, "What made you think it was a good idea?" Instantly dread filled me. I walked up to my parents' room. My mom was arguing with my dad on the phone. According to my dad, he found our cat playing with my card. He decided to take it and remove my money to teach me a lesson about leaving my card lying around and then go to work. My dad apologized to me and I just handed the phone back to my mom and stormed out of the room. My dad had pulled something like this to me before, except he took all of my money and then lost it. My dad claimed that he took the money to teach me a lesson for leaving my card around my family. Later on he told me in private that he took it because he knew I was lying about the amount of money I had. I had been saving that money for a medical thing, so I was hiding it because my family is always in a state of financial distress and he would ask for it if he knew that I had it and I was just done being in constant pain. Anyways, there were clear flaws in the story he told us. First, that I had my card and it was in my wallet exactly where I left it. That was a whole separate trip from going to work. Also, neither my wallet or my card have any sign of damage. My dad works out of city, which is a 1.5 car ride from where we live. My mom said that she will drive me to my dad's work where we will pick up the money. We don't trust him to have it till he is done working due to what happened last time. He protested, saying that will use too much gas and that he will drive down instead, as that will use the same amount of gas. This ultimately leads to my mom practically having the confirmation that he has started gambling again. My dad had a gambling addiction when I was younger, but he got help for it and had been clean for a while. As in her mind, why else would he be so adamant that we not go to his work? He came home and returned all the money to me. Yes, I counted over and over again to make sure. He apologized and I said nothing. My mom said that he didn't sound sincere. My dad blew up on her, saying that he had apologized over the phone and that he was obviously sorry about what happened. He later on apologized to me about that, but I ignored it and he doesn't seem to be talking to my mom. My mom has told me that she is going to talk to a lawyer and she is absolutely torn up about this. There have been so many issues with their relationship this past year, but this seemed to be the straw that broke the camel's back to leave her 40 years marriage to my dad. My sisters don't know what is going on, or if they do not, the whole situation. I told her that once I move out that I might go no contact with him. My mom got all sad and said she doesn't blame me for wanting to after all that my dad put me through. I'm honestly emotionally drained and dreading calling back my bank. My mom had this great weekend planned for us, but now there is an overwhelming feeling of dread and tension over everything. I was actually going to finally do something for myself that I had finally worked up the nerve to ask my mom about, but that had to be cancelled. Honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm moving out soon, I would have called my friend and moved out today. I'm just done with my dad in this situation. At the same time, I feel such an overwhelming guilt. I know that I did the right thing. That I had to tell my mom and protect myself financially, but I don't know. I feel responsible for my parents separating, and me and my mom are the only ones that know that, even though my dad made his choice. The fact that I love my dad and I still want a close relationship with him like I never had yet, I can't imagine ever talking to him after he put me through all this. I also feel like I'm too emotional and hasty to make these decisions, as all of this happened today. Maybe I just need confirmation that I am doing the right thing. Update 2. I know it's been 2 weeks since my last post, but a lot has happened since then. My parents are getting a divorce. I have mixed feelings about this. My mom has started to track my dad. I know, invasion of privacy, but it was the only way to know for sure. Multiple times the tracker has put him at a casino when he claims he's working. My mom has figured that he has been getting his paycheck 2 days early and not telling anyone. My mom called a lawyer last Wednesday to talk about her next move. My dad isn't fighting it, which is honestly destroying my mom. Yesterday we got an eviction notice that we have to be out by the end of the month. This has happened before, but my dad has always explained it away. Apparently my dad, hasn't paid the rent in 4 months. My dad hasn't said anything about this. He now knows we are all seeing through him and his act. My mom and younger sister are going to live with my maternal grandparents. Me and my other sister are moving out to our own apartment at the end of the week. This makes me extremely angry. Cause my parents got the money for me to pay for the rent. Instead it was going to my dad's gambling. I did a calculation for how much I gave them this year and I am horrified. It is over $10,000. All my savings for college, so many of my paychecks that I have given up to help my family, has actually gone to my dad's gambling addiction. I feel so used and like a fool. I feel so betrayed. My mom has told me that she doesn't want me to go no contact with my dad. She wants to hold family dinners once everything has settled down and she has a place, and she is going to invite my dad. My mom still loves my dad and keeps saying that he is sick. I know this, I know he isn't well. That he has lost control, but I don't know if I can keep him in my life. He used me and manipulated me. I feel less like his child and more like his walking bank account. He broke our family, and even if it is because he's sick, I don't know if I can put it past me. I know that it would destroy my mom to cut my dad out of my life. I know you guys said I'm not the in my last post, but I still feel like one. I might add more later as I have to go to work. Edit. Adding some details I forgot about in a rush to go to work. One of the reasons that my mom is going to do these dinners is to give my dad a reason to get help. I honestly don't think that will work. First, my father is rarely with us or does stuff when he lives with us. I doubt he will go. Second, if the looming threat of divorce didn't kick him into gear, I don't think weekly dinners will. I have a really good relationship with my mom, so I do want to go to those dinners to spend time with her, but I don't know if I can face my dad if he decides to come. My mom wants me to have a good relationship with my dad, which is why she doesn't want me to go no contact with him. Also, some of it is likely her guilt for the situation and the fact I tend to be the person she goes to for help. Also, a lot of you have been confused by me being responsible for their divorce. Like I said, it was an update to a post that I had made previously. If you want all the information, go look at that post, but the rundown is I woke up and saw that someone stole my money. I told my mom and she figured out it was my dad. My mom realized that she needs to divorce my dad due to him lying about what happened. My mom has never told me that any of this was my fault. It was how I was feeling in the moment. I have since gotten over that guilt. Many of you have said that I should try to get the money back from my dad. I'm not sure. I made peace not getting the money back. I'm not going to take him to court. My life is already crazy without worrying about court and my dad's gambling addiction. Not to mention I really don't have proof that I could show the court, as I just gave the money to my mom. I never made any comments digitally what the money is for, so it will absolutely fall apart and become a he said they said. And honestly, I don't want to deal with it. I just want to move past this. Update 3. So I, NB20, live in my own apartment with my sister, 20, and roommate, M19. We moved in about 2 weeks ago. Due to events in one of my previous posts, me and her are the only ones in my family not homeless. My dad has been living in his car and staying in hotels when able. My dad has recently been hospitalized for a multitude of reasons. No, I won't go into detail. He is going to be released. Some of the medical advice that is going to be given to my dad he can't follow due to being homeless. My parents haven't mentioned the fact that my dad's homeless or that they are in the middle of a divorce to the hospital. My mom is scared what that would mean for him. My mom has asked me to talk to my roommates to see how they feel about my dad living with us temporarily. I agreed to, but I honestly don't want to have him. This might be selfish, but he would be in my room due to the fact he works night. He won't do my sister's room because her room is hyper feminine and is only separated by a curtain from the living room. As I am the one with an actual room, he would be sleeping in my room. Our schedules are pretty reversed, so we would never see each other except on my days off, but I really hate this idea. In our previous house, I had to share my room with my mom because of her working from home. This meant that whenever someone feels like it, they would barge into my room. I finally have my own space that no one could barge into, and not even 2 weeks later it might be stripped from me. Not to mention I am currently searching for another job due to the fact that I have moved to another city and no longer want to commute 3 hours each way, and I have a couple phone interviews lined up for my days off, and I can't go into the living room due to my roommates also having those days off, and I don't like talking on the phone in public. My dad has also not acknowledged that he has done anything wrong. I am also still pissed at him. He can't go with my mom and other sister due to my maternal grandparents hating his guts at the moment. He can't ask any of his family due to the fact that they are abusive, and he doesn't want to admit how bad his situation has gotten. So this just leaves me and my sister. My dad already doesn't like our roommate due to sexism and toxic masculinity. I don't think he will act any way that will show it, but I really don't want to place him in a situation where he might have to deal with that. I have yet to tell my roommates, as they had already left when my mom asked, and I don't want to ruin their event or have this conversation over text. I'm very tempted to pay out all the reasons it would be a bad idea for them, so they agree that we can't do it, so I'm not the but I don't like the idea of manipulating them. My mom said that my dad probably won't accept the offer, but I'm not sure I can make the offer. Also, hotels are not the option due to the fact none of us have the money for them, and my dad will likely be paying off this trip for a while. I honestly feel like either way I'm screwed. So unfortunately Reddit is my only solution, cause I have no one to talk to about this situation. Update 4. So yesterday was my dad's birthday. M60. I, NB20, have been pretty much no contact with him since my last post about him, only really seeing him here and there. My dad has reached out to me once, but I didn't respond. Never once has he apologized for what he has done. For the past week I had been debating if I should send him the above text. No matter what, I decided I wasn't going to get him anything after all the money he took from me. Then on Wednesday my phone got stolen. I spent most of Wednesday and yesterday trying to find it and come up with solutions so that I can do all the things I need to do. I thought that was the answer to texting my dad. Yesterday I got a new phone and was talking to my mom. She texts me that I need to send my dad a text. She always reminds me to send birthday and holiday texts, as I am notorious for forgetting to. I said I will later, as I still hadn't decided if I was going to. She then told me that she gave my dad $20 for me. I was shocked. She said all my siblings agreed to send him $20 for a hotel room. We all know he will probably gamble it away. I had never agreed due to my stolen phone. I was pretty much out of contact, but I had still talked to her through my roommates. She also could have waited and asked if I was okay with it, which I would have said no. I don't think my mom will ask for the 20, she just seemed to do it in my name. Regardless, I was pissed. So I didn't text my dad because I wanted to make sure he was aware that I haven't forgiven him and that we don't have a relationship anymore. I also did it to spite my mom for putting my name on a gift I never agreed to. I was so sure of it yesterday, but now I think I might have just been petty. Now on to second story. Son loves his bright pink, sparkly jacket, but I'm terrified that wearing it to school will invite more bullying. I'm a single dad to my son, Oliver 10 male. He's with me most of the time. and sees his mom every other weekend. He's an awesome kid, creative, full of energy, and he's got his own sense of style that's pretty unique. He loves bright colors, nail polish, and clothes that some people might think are more girly. If I'm honest, I think Oliver might be gay, and I'm totally cool with that. I've always made it clear that whoever he turns out to be, I'll support him 100%. Because of how he dresses and acts, Oliver's had a really tough time with other kids. He got bullied so badly at his old school that I ended up pulling him out and homeschooling him. The school wasn't helpful at all, and it was heartbreaking to see him go through that. He struggled to make friends, and it kills me to see him feel so alone. Now, he's starting back at school in September, and he's really excited about it. But recently, we were at a cousin's birthday party, and Oliver wore his favorite jacket, which is a bright pink, sparkly one that he loves. Some of the other kids started picking on him, saying he looked gay. I stepped in, got the kids to apologize, but it ruined the day for Oliver. I'm worried about how things will go when he's back at school. I've been thinking about whether I should talk to Oliver about maybe toning it down a bit, especially when he's around new people. Not because I want him to change who he is, but because I hate seeing him get hurt and feel like an outcast. I don't want him to feel like he has to hide who he is, but I also don't want him to be picked on or excluded because of it. But then, I feel like a complete asshole for even thinking about this. I don't want him to think that I'm ashamed of him or that he has to conform to be accepted. I want him to feel free to be himself, but I'm also scared of him being hurt by others who don't get it. Update 1. Hey all, it's been about 26 days since my original post, and I thought I'd give an update now that Oliver has had his first week back at school. I can happily say that so far, things are going much better than I'd hoped. Over the summer, Oliver and I had a really important heart-to-heart. I sat him down and told him just how incredibly proud I am of the person he is becoming. I made sure he knew that there is absolutely nothing he could ever do that would change the way I see him or make me love him any less. Honestly, it was a bit emotional, and I even got a bit choked up. I told him that if wearing his favorite jacket, the one that's caused some hurt before, made him happy, I'd stand behind him 100%. But I also wanted to make sure he was prepared. I explained that, while I'll always be there for him, I can't always be around to protect him, and he might have to stand up for himself if kids make fun of him. I made it clear that this doesn't mean he should change anything about who he is, but that he needs to be ready to handle it if anyone says anything cruel. Oliver understood, and we spent the summer coming up with some playful comebacks together. He really wanted to take the jacket with him to school, so we made it a bit of a project, imagining the kind of things kids might say and crafting witty replies that he could fire back with. It was actually pretty fun, and I think it helped him feel more confident about it. Now, back to school. His new teacher knows all about his past struggles with bullying, and she's been amazing. She's keeping a close eye on things and making sure he feels safe and comfortable. It's made such a difference already, and Oliver's first week couldn't have gone better. He's even made a friend, a boy named Sam, and they've really hit it off. They're planning to meet up tomorrow at the wacky warehouse, and Oliver can't stop talking about it. It's been a long time since I've seen him this excited about spending time with someone his age. I know it's still early days, but seeing him come home happy and smiling each day has been such a relief. Update 2. Hey, I just wanted to hop on and give a small update about Oliver's playdate over the weekend. Firstly, when Oliver was getting ready he wanted to wear all his flamboyant clothes. He asked me if I thought it was a good idea. His friend had seen him in his jacket, but he was a little worried how he would react to the full Oliver. I told him to wear whatever he wanted, and if this friend was worth being friends with they would accept him for exactly how he is. This made Oliver smile. He wore his full Oliver outfit when we were walking and I could feel Oliver getting a bit nervous. He was bullied so much in his last school for how he was, so I understood why. I held his hand tight and gave it 2 squeezes. This means I love you, something I learned to teach him from Reddit actually. The friend's dad was with him and he looked at Oliver and gave a little curious look, but apart from that it was fine. The boy said he loved Oliver's clothes. They spent about 4 hours playing, and we ended up eating together. On the way home, I told Oliver how proud I am of the little man he is. I am so proud how he is so willing to be himself, and so brave to continue despite any backlash he gets. I love him so much. This is my final update on this account. I don't know if I'll ever show you these posts, Oliver, maybe in a few years when you're older so we can laugh at how worried I was about you. Your dad is so proud of you. I think you are the most amazing person in the whole world. Even when you drive me absolutely nuts. I am so lucky to get to be your father. I am so lucky you are in my life. I love you.